What is going on, traders? Happy Friday. Thank you guys so much for tuning into today's video. I really do appreciate your time. And as usual, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know exactly how my day trading did go. So let's get into today's recap. And as you guys can see from the screen, right, in terms of my overall account and including my day trading and swing trading, right, I was able to recover a decent amount that I lost yesterday. So yesterday, with all the swing trades that I was holding and my day trading didn't go very well, my account lost about over $300. But today, right, I was able to recover some of that off of day trading, and some of the swings were actually able to recover a decent amount. So in terms of my day trading overall today, I was up $102 on SQs and I lost $61 on TQQQ, right? So down or up about $40 on the day right there. And then my other swing positions, right, on Google, Meta, and Microsoft, they all did a decent job of recovering from the big losses they took yesterday. But unfortunately, Tesla, right, was the exact opposite and it died a decent amount today. But as you guys can see, these are all my filled orders. I stopped trading at 9:40, right around there. I started trading as usual right around market open at 6:30, right? But let me go ahead and explain to you guys exactly what I had, or what I saw going on, and what led to me being able to profit today. So what I saw going on pre-market was the Nasdaq was indicating signs of an uptrend. It was trading between the top and middle VWAP, right? Every time it would approach the middle VWAP, it did a nice job of finding a support, right? And it would end up reversing itself and make these higher highs and higher lows. And so heading into market open, well, even before market open, right, what we'll notice is at 5:30, there was a lot of movement that happened, right? As you guys can see, it's not normally typical during pre-market to see this much movement. So obviously you got to ask yourself, why was there this much movement? And the reason for that was at 5:30 a.m. during the pre-market hour, so 1 hour before market open, there was actually a series of reports that got released. So that caused the market, to drop heavily and then end up recovering. And so how do I figure out, whether or not there are going to be reports that come out? Well, if you can actually do this yourself, you can go to your browser, right? And you can go to Google or anything like that. And so let me go ahead and, show you guys exactly what I do. So I pretty much, once this thing decides to load, right, go to Google and I go to this website called Finviz, right? So I find it very helpful because it, tells me any important reports that might influence the Nasdaq, right? And since I'm heavily focused on the Nasdaq, it's important for me to keep up to date with these. So what you'll notice is that, right, today, November 4th, at 8:30, these tell you the times in Eastern Standard Time, right? But since I'm in the Pacific Standard Time time zone, right, everything is at 5:30, so 3 hours before. So what you'll notice is a series of reports came out, right? We had the unemployment rate, the average hourly earnings, and this tells you what was expected, right? And what was the actual metric itself prior, and then what actually got reported. And so this is a good website. Definitely, save that or take a look at it if you guys are focused with the Nasdaq. But right, so those reports came out and it caused the Nasdaq to react the way it did. It dropped and then ended up recovering. And so heading into market open, it was right around here, right? So the Nasdaq recovered nicely, started to, make these higher highs, higher lows, and as it peaked out for market open, I started to get into TQQQ and ride this up, but this thing ended up changing direction very quick, and so I actually got burned and was down a decent amount of money on this because this thing was very volatile today, right? As you guys can see, just this type of movement alone is almost a 2% move on the Nasdaq, right? And the ETFs themselves are triple leveraged, so they're 3 times that. So this 2% move would be a 6% move if you're in SQQQ or TQQQ, right? And so as this thing started to pull back, right, I got stopped out. I tried predicting the bottom a few times, got burned some more, right? And so I ended up really struggling in terms of which way direction was headed. I thought that as this thing sold off, we were going to see this bounce and form a higher high right around middle VWAP. But as you guys can see, this thing kept selling off. And so I lost a lot of money. I was down to probably around $80. And so as this thing pushed back up, I decided to ride with the momentum one last time and the selling pressure. And so this trade alone, I was able to make back everything, right? I lost. I think I made about $100 on this trade here. And so as this thing changed direction, right, I started to, still focus on this thing selling off. And so unfortunately I started to get burned on the way up, right? So what I definitely struggle with is finding which way direction is headed, because although I may think this thing's gonna sell off, it doesn't mean it has to sell off and touch bottom VWAP right away, right? As you guys can see, this thing sold off, peaked out again, and then sold off and eventually touched bottom VWAP. So I need to be prepared for when there are these types of market changes, right? And so as this thing peaked out, right, formed a double top, ended up getting rejected, tested the same resistance level, right, broke below the EMA and started to get rejected, and this thing aggressively sold off, right? And so as this thing sold off, right, we ended up seeing the exact same thing we saw before. So how does a stock typically trade? Well, in some setups, right, it'll uptrend, consolidate, and then get rejected and downtrend, right? So as this thing rides the EMA line up, it'll start to ride this thing down and get rejected by it on the way down, right? It'll fall down, find a support, start to trade sideways a bit, then it'll reverse, right? So it'll get rejected, consolidate, and then start to uptrend, right? So this thing will start to uptrend. It'll peak out, right? Become overextended, consolidate, and then start to downtrend, right? So it's pretty, simple in terms of looking back at the pattern, which way it could have potentially been headed. But obviously, in hindsight, it's a lot easier said than done, right? But this thing sold off once again, consolidated, traded sideways, and then changed direction, started uptrend. So there was definitely a lot of money to be made. I definitely screwed up because, I wasn't able to really profit that much, but ending green on the day, right? So that's all that matters. And so I'm very grateful for that. But yeah, so it's definitely important to try to get a good sense of which way direction's headed and where the support and resistance levels are, because if you do a good job, right, of really identifying where they are, like for example, if you saw there was a support around here and a resistance around here, right, you could have done a good job of profiting, selling at the highs, right? And then buying the lows or even riding the inverse ETF the other way, right? But definitely lots of money to be made. No excuse for me there. I was ending the week red 1.8%. So I do trade with 10K. So I was down about $180 on the week in terms of my day trading. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the recap today. I am excited that the NASDAQ was able to recover, right? And because of the fact that it brought Google, right? Microsoft, some of the stuff I'm holding now in Meta, right? So those it brought it up with it. So those had pretty decent days because of the Nasdaq. So very grateful for that. And yeah, my brother will be posting the recap on Monday. But that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about today. I hope you guys found this informative. If you guys are new to the channel, please, we do appreciate you dropping a like and subscribing. It really does help us out. And if you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and drop a comment. I will be more than happy to answer them. But that's pretty much everything. I hope you guys all enjoy your Friday and your weekend, and we will see you guys Monday. Take care.